I'm Carol Andrews for another episode of Southwest TV News. Here are some of the stories coming up on today's show. Cooperatives in Saskatchewan communities go hand in hand, especially in the rural areas. Wherever you travel across small-town Saskatchewan, you're likely to see a credit union on Main Street. This scenario is about to change for 6 communities in the Southwest. Prostate cancer is one of the most common cancers in men, and stats indicate that 1 in 7 will develop the disease in their lifetime. Here's where the Ride for Dad comes into play in raising awareness and funds for prostate cancer research. The Salvation Army is a well-known organization worldwide. Closer to home, the Swift Current branch is celebrating its centennial year in 2013 and marked the occasion with a weekend event, which included a dinner at the Salvation Army headquarters. Thanks for joining us here today. Residents of Hazlet are rallying together to try and save their local bank. We have more in today's top story. Cooperatives in Saskatchewan communities go hand in hand, especially in the rural areas. Wherever you travel across small-town Saskatchewan, you're likely to see a credit union on Main Street. This scenario is about to change for 6 communities in the Southwest. As of October 1st, Innovation Credit Union will be closing its branches in Hazlet, Climax, Codair, Pennant, Scepter, and Shamrock. A formal announcement was made to the 9 employees affected across the region who will be laid off work, followed by a formal press release sent out to the public. A decision which was based on a number of reasons, with a lack of profits at the top of the list.
So all of the 6 branches that we're looking at do not contribute positively to the innovation financial situation.
And what's the criteria?
Number of criteria. We look at number of deposits, number of loans, other products and services, and the level of transactions that reside in locations and the cost to run those locations.
A move which has the 390 members of the Hazlet branch crying foul, who voiced their concerns at a recent public meeting hosted by Innovation. Concerns which include why the membership was not notified in advance to come up with an alternate solution to the closure.
We have significant gaps in the profitability, and when we looked at the process around informing the stakeholders, so the staff members, the community, we chose to inform the staff members first, make the decision, inform the staff members, and then the membership. Because part of the process of even informing the community really, would not have helped in the decision. We felt that the decision was sound. We looked at a number of different ways.
Meanwhile, the membership has an alternate solution. 2, in fact. One is a resolution presented to the Innovation Board to try and turn things around economically in the next 2 years, or align with another credit union. Scenarios which the mayor supports, as the village has seen growth over the past few years, with investments of over $1 million into the community through its arena and wind turbine project.
There's lots of young people that are moving back into the community that are working in the oil field, and agriculture is profitable again. So, young people are coming back to work on the land where, for the last 20 years it was probably going the other way, where nobody wanted to work on the land because you couldn't make any money.
Sentiments echoed by Curtis Benson, who operates a carpentry business in Hazlet. Having lived in the community for the past 7 years, he's built a life here with his wife and a business, and enjoys the small-town atmosphere. Now, with a change in banking on the horizon, he has concerns.
I'd say 95% of my clients pay me by check. Sure, it's well and good to use the online banking and that, which is excellent for sitting at home, but it's impossible to put a check in that way. So I would have to take time out of my day to travel to Swift Current now, and it's an hour and a half round trip plus half an hour at the bank, and I'm not getting paid for those hours, and there's a lot of work to be done.
While others question the rationale of the entire closure, based on standard cooperative principles.
Well, a cooperative is for the people, by the people. And yes, when some branches are not as profitable, others are. And I would feel, as a business person, if satisfying my customers and serving my customers and keeping my employees did mean that one department was maybe not as profitable as the company as a whole, so long as the company's in the black, that that's a decision you would make. You would still keep that department open.
Now, with a resolution in hand from the Hazlet membership, Innovation CEO Daniel Johnson says he'll take this to the board for discussion. And as far as the amalgamation with another credit union, he had these comments.
No, it's not that easy. There is no option in legislation to allow branches to leave an organization and be part of another organization. There is a process you could go through by just, one by one moving business and memberships over, and that would be up to the member and the aspiring organization.
And as far as the future of the actual bank building remaining in Hazlet, Johnson said it'll remain intact on the following terms.
We are looking at it from a point of view where this is something that we can provide back to the community. So if they want to use it for a social club or some sort of a community eventplex or something like that, then they should be able to.
And if it was a scenario where they were looking at another credit union, you'd still do the same thing?
I don't see why not. I mean, I think if that's what the community wants their building and the purpose for, then we would let that happen if it was a credit union.
Pending any further updates, all 6 Innovation Credit Union branches, including the location in Hazlet, will be closed as of October the 1st. Southwest TV News will continue to follow this story as it unfolds. Plan to attend the 6th annual Mortlach Saskatoon Berry Festival. Enjoy delicious Saskatoon berry pie and other delicacies. Meet local artisans and enjoy an array of entertainment for the whole family, including the pancake breakfast starting at 8 a.m., followed by the parade at 11. Enjoy live music and dancing until midnight. The Mortlach Saskatoon Berry Festival. 4,000 people with purple teeth can't be wrong. Southwest TV News is hitting the road with our annual Summer Around the Southwest tour, covering a variety of exciting events across the region. The Southwest TV News Summer Around the Southwest tour is proudly brought to you by Innovation Credit Union. Imagine the possibilities. W.W. Smith Insurance has reached a milestone as it celebrates its centennial. Having served Southwest Saskatchewan for the past 100 years, W.W. Smith Insurance is your motor license issuer, while specializing in all of your personal and commercial needs, including home, auto, agro, business, and life insurance. W.W. Smith Insurance, independently owned and operated since 1913. Raising money for prostate cancer research is the focus of a nationwide campaign by motorcycle enthusiasts. We bring you all the highlights from the Swift Current event. Prostate cancer is one of the most common cancers in men, and stats indicate that 1 in 7 will develop the disease in their lifetime. Over 24,000 new cases of prostate cancer will be diagnosed this year in Canada, with 4,300 dying from the disease. Here's where the Ride for Dad comes into play in raising awareness and funds for prostate cancer research. 91 participants from across Southwest Saskatchewan and Southern Alberta registered for the Swift Current event, all eager to hit the road for a worthy cause while enjoying their favorite pastime.
Well, over the years, I've tried to volunteer and do, what I can, different things here and there. I've participated in a lot of poker runs for fundraising for all different charities over the last number of years. It's kind of a dual thing. I like to help out, but being able to ride is just a plus.
Well, it's a good cause. I'm a cancer survivor myself, so I understand what it's all about.
The event also drew in federal interest, with David Anderson, MP for Cypress Hills Grasslands, suiting up for the day's drive through the Southwest.
Well, we've been riding for a few years, and I've got a couple groups of guys around here that I ride with when I get time. I wish I had more time, but we do ride when I can, and typically if I can ride back and forth from Frontier to the office as much as possible in the summertime, that's kind of one of my regular routes.
While encouraging some riders to start thinking about their own personal health while out fundraising.
If anything, more for preventative maintenance in regards to the men and so on and so forth. Hopefully I never have to deal with it touching anybody in my family, but if it does, I mean, at least events like this are there to help support that.
And as the parade of motorcycles made their way through Swift Current, they then hit the highway for Hodgeville, Hazenmore, and Cadillac before returning later that afternoon. A day's ride tallying over $48,000. An impressive total raised for the first-time event in Swift Current, and one which is encouraged by local sponsors to continue into the future.
I had a couple people on staff that were on the board of the Ride for Dad, and when they approached me and about being a sponsor, I said, well, how about I be the presenting sponsor? I said, and they were quite surprised, but it's a great cause, the Ride for Dad and prostate cancer, so I'm honored to do it, actually.
The Swift Current Ride for Dad is one of several events held coast to coast this year. Join the fight against prostate cancer online at ridefordad.ca. Another exciting season of Market Square returns to downtown Swift Current, featuring live entertainment, fresh garden produce, crafts, and other unique vendors. Market Square, every Saturday at the corner of Central and Chaplin. Presented by Standard Motors, in partnership with Innovation Credit Union and Southwest TV News. The following is a paid political commentary by David Anderson, MP for Cypress Hills Grasslands, and does not in any way reflect the opinion of Southwest TV News.
Hi, this is David Anderson. Welcome to my June Anderson Report. Coming from Western Canada, Senate reform has been part of our political discussion for decades. The problem is that it just never came about. We're finally on our way to reform. To make structural changes to the Senate, we need clarification on constitutional requirements. Some things can be done by Parliament, some by agreement with the majority of the provinces, and some will require unanimity. We've referred Bill C-7 to the Supreme Court. They will determine and advise us on what we can do through Parliament. C-7 focuses on changes like term limits and Senate elections. The Court will give direction as to how far we can go. In the meantime, the Senate has finally moved to address the issue of expense claims of senators. They brought in 11 different provisions that will now require senators to be accountable. While the House of Commons has had a comprehensive system for claims, it's only now that the Senate is putting these same provisions in place. They include a requirement to provide receipts for claims, restrictions on where air travel can be done, and direction on how many per diems can be claimed. They will provide much needed clarity around residency requirements. This is a good start, but must be followed with more substantive change. If not, the real possibility exists that Canadians will demand the abolishment of this institution. That's a comment from David Anderson, Member of Parliament, Cypress Hills Grasslands.
"2013 marks the Centennial for the Swift Current Salvation Army. And in this feature, we take a closer look at their celebration weekend. The Salvation Army is a well-known organization worldwide. And since its inception in 1865 in London by William Booth, its outreach work has spanned globally, now covering 100 countries to date. Closer to home, the Swift Current branch is celebrating its centennial year in 2013 and marked the occasion with a weekend event, which included a dinner at the Salvation Army headquarters. The festivities included a performance by the Saskatoon Temple Band and guests from federal and municipal governments and Salvation Army delegates from across the prairies. An overall weekend of fellowship and a sense of community.
It's amazing. It's such a blessing Swift Current's such a wonderful community, and the Salvation Army, we've been involved with Swift Current from the very beginning, right? I think the city's celebrating their 100th year this next year. So it's been a wonderful working relationship for sure.
The local branch of the Swift Current Salvation Army has expanded its work in the community over the years, from the ever-popular Christmas kettles, food bank, to free legal clinics.
And it works really well with a lot of the other justice programs that we do with the Salvation Army here in Swift Current. We, of course, run the Alternative Measures programs, which is a court diversion program, and we've been developing a transition program, so when people wind up going way to be incarcerated in Regina, we're able to keep in touch with them and then help them find a job, help them find a place to live, and help them get settled when they come back.
Programs and other community outreach services which are applauded by Divisional Commander Major Wayne Bungie, who traveled in from Winnipeg.
And just to see the way that they do ministry with here in Swift Current is very refreshing. To see that they have a number of various programs that will help young people, seniors, and families, especially youth at risk.
And for local volunteers like Larry Jaster, the Salvation Army is a pillar in the community, helping those in need from all walks of life.
Well, I've been associated with the Salvation Army for 30-some years, when Major Don Randall was here, which going back a long time. And I was having a lot of problems back then. We all have problems, and I was seeking to see how I could, get rid of some of these. And I managed to find the Salvation Army, and he was very, very helpful and taught me a lot. And now we're here, 30 years later, and their 100th anniversary.
The Swift Current branch of the Salvation Army is headquartered out of its location on 1st Avenue Northwest and also operates a thrift store in the downtown core. Plan to attend the 6th annual Mortlach Saskatoon Berry Festival. Enjoy delicious Saskatoon berry pie and other delicacies. Meet local artisans and enjoy an array of entertainment for the whole family, including the pancake breakfast starting at 8 a.m., followed by the parade at 11. Enjoy live music and dancing until midnight. The Mortlach Saskatoon Berry Festival. 4,000 people with purple teeth can't be wrong. A BC man is walking across the country in support of cancer research, with stops across southern Saskatchewan. 18-year-old Braden Erickson is out walking, but he's not out for a casual stroll. He's embarked on a cross-Canada tour raising funds for cancer research. Erickson of Salmon Arm, BC, is hoping to raise just over $323,000 as he walks across Canada in support of a friend with leukemia and others battling cancer across the country. Walking close to 35 kilometers per day, Erickson is followed by his grandparents in the team motorhome. Southwest TV News caught up with Erickson during a stopover in Swift Current, and he explains why he chose walking as his mode of transportation.
Last year, during the May Long, I got pulled over for speeding, got my car impounded, so I had to walk everywhere. And I walked to and from work, which is a good 4.5 kilometers there, and then work all day and then walk back. So, I was just, one day thinking, why don't I do something that's, memorable and worth doing?
In the coming days, Erickson and the Cross Canada Cure will stop in communities across southern Saskatchewan, including Herbert, Mortlach, Moose Jaw, and Regina. Well, this brings to a close another episode of Southwest TV News, reporting the stories that matter to you. We always welcome your news tips. You can always reach us here by phone at our studio or by email to contact us at southwesttvnews.com. Also, be sure to join us daily online for the latest news from across Southwest Saskatchewan and so much more at mylocaltv.ca. And be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest. Thanks for joining us here today. I'm Carol Andrews.